Hello guys, um, welcome back. Today we're gonna be looking at Python control flow. So we're gonna be dealing with the if statement, the else statement, the while, and the for loop. So this is a very important part on Python programming or any type of programming. We're now gonna be making decisions. We've done in the last section about the decision when we enter a name and the program had to perform different things based on the name that we entered. Today we're going to be continuing with that by creating programs, but now this time we're going to be doing them with the integer. So I'll create a file. I will call it um, var, not variable, we're just going to call this one control flow.python.py. Great. So we're going to give a variable, um, let's say lockdown. Let's say we want to know about the levels of lockdown during the coronavirus or lockdown during any time that people have to be locked down. But this is an example, can apply in any type of things, can give a variable anywhere. So in this case, we're just going to be calling it lockdown level. And then we want to use it to tell us which level we're going to be tomorrow or today, or the example we're going to make is going to be what level of of lockdown will be for tomorrow. So let's ask the user. Remember we said before, we said input, and then we ask what level of lockdown is tomorrow. And then you just want to use it to type once the computer ask that, and then type in at the bottom of that. So after a line, so you know that we have to do a backslash there. So we say if the lockdown level let's say is equal to 5, and we want to print to user print we are on level 5. That is not nice. So else so now instead of saying else level, when I introduce a new one, we've done else before, so when I introduce else if, so in Python else if is elif, so it's a short for else if. So elif at the lockdown level is equal to, let's say 4. We want to print to user. That is nice. Nice. At least we are going down. Else if just remember that else if lockdown level is equal to 3. We want to say, wow, things are working out. Or else if letdown level is equal to the 2, we're gonna tell them, whoa, yay, things are getting back to normal. Of us, this was the last one. That statement should be else. That's the reader. Coolio. Things are back to normal. Okay, so the long program, this is the short program. Let me just make sure that we can see everything there. Everything that's going down and going up there. So first thing, we take an input from the user and then we keep that in a variable called lockdown levels, whatever the user gives us. And then we answer according to what level it is. So let's run this program. There's going to be problems, but we're going to fix them. Just want to show you what is the difference between what you've done before when you're playing around with strings. Now this time you're doing integers. You're playing with numbers. So let's fix that lockdown. And then the way that we run it, we just say Python control flow. Here we go. It's asking us what level is it tomorrow. I'll say 5. Coolio, things are back to normal. So that is wrong. It's not supposed to say that things are back to normal. It just didn't find out that 5. Why is that? It's because it thinks it's a string, and then cannot do calculation on the strings. You can only do calculation on the proper numbers and integers. So let's fix that. So in order to fix that, we have to tell Python that we actually talking about strings here. So the way to do it is just say int on our program. We pass on the function. We pass int on the function input. Let's see how things are now. What level are we now? We are 5 tomorrow. We are on level 5. That's not nice. Let's run the program again and say tomorrow we are on 4. This is nice. At least we are going down. Run the program again and say we are on 3. Whoa. This are working out. That's how things are working out. Doesn't matter, just grammar. So let's fix that. Things are working out. Proper. So run it again. Level 3. Says things are working out. If on level 2, supposed to say yay. 2. Yay, things are getting to normal. Or if we want 1, then the last number. Coolio, things are getting to normal. So that's the thing that we introduced it. We just said Python wouldn't play nice if you're working with the integers and then you don't explicitly tell Python that, hey, now I'm working with numbers. Otherwise, the program is going to just behave differently. And the other thing that we introduced as new is else if. That's a short for else if. On Python you say elif. That's all that we just introduced, but we can now make a lot of decisions on Python depending on the type of the situation. You tell the program it must do this. If this doesn't happen, you must do that. If that doesn't happen, you must do that. So that's a cool thing. Now we done with if and else statement. We can now introduce something called a for loop. So for a condition is equal to this, do that. So before we introduce a for loop, I'm gonna introduce something else as well. Say we're gonna call this program list, because we're gonna use something called list. We will talk about list.py. We create a new file. So on list, what is a list? A list is like a variable, but inside the variable you got more than one input. Inside of the variable you got for example, if you have like fruit, for example, you can't put every fruit on one variable. Otherwise, you're gonna have to have a lot of variables. You're gonna say banana, orange, etc., apple, and others, etc. But now you can't do that. Program's gonna be not nice. You're gonna have to put them on one list and say the top of the list is fruit. So you have the fruit, and the way you do it, you would say on my fruit I have banana, apple, and all that. So you have your banana, and then you have your apple, and then you have your orange. Ha! Didn't know that. No, take type of fruit. And then this now it's a list, so the list is fruit. So instead of it being a variable, now it's a list of things. You can have more than one value inside that fruit. So now if you want to print those out, just print fruit. And if everything works well, if we run Python list, it's a banana, apple, and oranges, but you see it puts them in those coded, which makes them a list. So this type of thing of it's called a list. So now on the list, now when I introduce what we are talking about, the for loop. So now let's call this program new names. People are gonna have new names. New names, the Python. So these names for children names I can be called in 2010. So a lot of people like to call their children about the situation they are on or what's happening around them, and this and that. So we're gonna call this one kids names. This is a list. On the list of these names we'll have what we call first kid will be sanitizer, second kid will be called social distancing, and the third kid will be called quarantine. But now what we want to do with this list, we want to introduce the for loop, how for loop works, because we're working with control. So why would we do that? When I greet these kids, when I see them, hello sanitizer, hello social distancing, hello quarantine, hello so and so. So this is how it for loops work. You say for, and then you give it a variable that it will hold, that will go through that list and loop around the list and check what is happening. For, let's call a name, for name in where, in the list of kids. For name, kid's name. Let's call this kid's name. Let's call it proper. Kids names. What you wanna do? You wanna create them. Print hello. Format. Format. And then you pass the name of a child name. So we'll see those kids in 2021, and then we call them by names when we see them, like hello so and so, hello so and so. So let's run that. Print, we call them, I don't know, we call Python. And our program's called new names. So we click them. Hello sanitizer, hello social distancing, hello quarantine. Something is not nice here. Children's names supposed to be capital letters. They must start with the capital letters. Oh, we're gonna fix that. Let's try something. Let's just type to check. I think I made a mistake. I called the listed I called a list. I called it dictionary list. Let me just check the tab. So to check that, let's try to see something. I'm gonna say print, and I see what type of that variable is. Print type. On the type, you pass the variable name, which is kid's name. Let's run that. Python. Trace back. Didn't know kid's name because it didn't exist. It's kids' names. Okay, let's fix that. Type name. Yeah, this is the list. I was just double checking that's the list. So it's a list. So now what we want to do, we want to make sure that we treat those children in a proper way. That's how you do it. So if you forget like what type of variable is, you can just print and say type, like I did before. You can say type and then type. So Python will tell you if what type of it. If it's an integer, you just print, say type, and pass the variable name, it will tell you it's an int. So having being sure of we're actually working with a list, now we want to do something else. We want to capitalize the first letter of the names, because names are supposed to be capital letter. We can do that by doing that, but what if we have hundreds of thousands of names and we were reading this from a file? It's gonna take us forever. That's not how programming works. So programming makes life easier. So we're gonna introduce another function. We call this one method because they work within inside the string, or within inside the type of a the type of program. So the type of a data structure. So that's the word of data structure. So your strings is a type of is a data structure. Your integers are data structure. So inside the strings, they are actually functions, but because they are built in what you will learn later called object-oriented programming, they normally don't call them functions. They call them methods. So we're gonna say name and then say capitalize. Okay. Let's see if it's gonna work. It doesn't like capitalize. Why? It says I'm actually capitalized to a string object. Okay, so it doesn't find capitalizes. This is where you will go and Google and check what how to capitalize in Python. So how to copy or what how to do something. So you just have to Google it. How to capitalize. So I spell capitalize wrong. See you one. There you go. I got sanitizer and capital, social distancing and capital, and quarantine and capital. So if you get stuck and then you wanna find the function what it does, it's easy to just Google how to capitalize Python. I capitalize string in Python, so it will tell you must use a string name dot capitalize. And the best place to find all this is python.org. And then the documentation you'll be using, you say Python 3, that's what you're working on, Python 3. And just search for the function that you want to use. Go. So it will show you the built-in functions that you use. So this is how you do it. You just name the string and say dot and capitalize. You can do a lot of things. Compare them center, count, encode, and so forth and so on. So you must keep this document always close to you when you are developing things or learning how to program in Python. So now we're done with the for. So we did a if, we did an else. The last one we're gonna be checking out today is a while. So a while is actually the one that I actually most like because you can use your for and then you loop around the bottom until it ends. But while is more, you also can use to control the flow. So let's do something that mathematicians like. It's a program called Fibonacci. I'm gonna call this one Fib. You don't have to understand mathematics. I just want to introduce a concept. You don't have to know what Fibonacci does, but if you're interested to know, you can Google it. It would explain what it does. Actually, let's do that. Mathematician. So the Fibonacci numbers, a special number that mathematics involve. So in mathematics, the Fibonacci number is a common denominator as it's a sequence. The numbers form a sequence called Fibonacci sequence. So you have one. It's actually an f function of a number. Function of a number minus 1, function of a number minus 2 is 1. It adds a number and then add it. So normally you have your first one of your Fibonacci 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 10. But don't bother about more about this. Just want to show how a 4 works. So let's go. call this Fibonacci here. And so what we're going to do, we're going to give it an x, and the second variable we're going to call it y, and then we're going to give them the starting value. We're going to say x gets 0 and y gets 1. So this is a new type of data in Python, like the other one that we just introduced of sets, which is list. This one is called tuple. A tuple is used to check the coordinates. So for example, if you want to do your coordinates and you want to see where a person is, given the longitude and latitude, this is all you would explain in one line of Python. This is latitude 0, that's longitude 1. So now we don't bother about that, we just want to do the Fibonacci. And then we're going to do our first, let's check what Fibonacci first 5 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to count up to 5. Let's make it 6. Let's count up to 6 sequence of numbers. So what we're going to do, we're going to say while x is less, while x is less than 5. We want to do something. Let's just print it. So we want to get a sequence of numbers. Print x, and then after that we want to add x to the sequence. So the way of doing that is we'll do x and do y, and then it's equal to, and then we take y and then we put in x, and then we add x to y equals to x, and then we add x to y. Okay, so this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to do a sequence of f of num minus 1 plus f of num minus 2. It's going to do 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. Now, failure. Let's run that with our little bit complicated program in how to use a control flow for while conditions. Cool. Python print, we call this one FB or FIB. Okay, there we go. 0, 1, put 0. It was too fast. Yeah, 0, 1, 1, 5. There. So it started 0 and then it ended at 5. So now we want to put how many numbers here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So this would be 14. Yeah. While S is done 14, I'll say less than 15, sorry. 15 because we don't point to that. So let's do that. Let's run Python fib. There we go, went up to 13, which is nice. Let's make it go up to, it went up to 13, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, went to 13. Let's just take 50. Okay, 50, and it's less than 50, do that. That's actually fast because we would want it to show us when it's doing these numbers in a very nice manner. So let's try to be creative here. Let's let it print a number, pause, print another number, pause, print another number, pause. How do you do a pause in Python? You actually sleep. You deserve to sleep. Sleep. How many times you want to sleep? You want to sleep for 1 second. If you want to live for 2 seconds, you sleep 2, 100 seconds, 100. But we don't have time to sleep that much. Let's sleep for 1 second and see how things go. Python fib. It says we've got an error, which is good. It says, I don't know about sleeping. Python doesn't sleep. It doesn't know about sleeping. Python doesn't sleep. Doesn't know about sleeping. Okay, cool. So let's go back and be serious. So it says name error, a variable called sleep not defined. So in a model. Okay. So if startup was not defined, we've seen it. When you don't tell Python about something, then it doesn't know it. So this is my last one. Introducing another function that are not built in Python, but other people wrote. So what do you want to use for a program? You don't want to create a program of mine to sleep. There's people already created that for you. You just have to use it. So how do you sleep in Python? You import. You can import a function called time. But hang on, you want to sleep, you don't want time. We're just saying Python, hey Python, if you know, that's from time. Import from time, import us, get us, sleep. Okay, that's it. It's a new thing that we introduced today that you can call other modules that people wrote and use it in your program. So your program now will look like this. That's how your program is looking now. It's looking like that. So now let's run it again. Our last program today. Let's run Python fib. There you are. Here. 1, 2, 2, 3, 5, 8, blah blah blah. Do do do. DVD. Blah blah blah. Let's go up to 100. Okay. So this is how your Python program will work. So you can go up to any number that you want until you get what I couldn't get right at the first numbers that on Fibonacci theorem. So that's it for our control flow. We've introduced powerful tools that you will use on all of your program in Python. If something doesn't happen, else do something, else if do something, or else just do something. And we introduce a new type of variable or a new data structure, which is called a list, and where you can put the price and put coded lines in separating the list and print them out. And then looking at the list, we will be able to introduce another control flow with the 4 conditions, where we loop inside our list and print out what's there, or do something about it. Hello Banbani, hello so and so, hello zone, hello zone. And then the last one, which is a bit tricky or complex, but it's simple. It's if you read about it, just check how it works, and we introduce another data structure with a table that says something, comment something, then the first one will take the first one is like 171 in that manner, in that order, and then introduce a while something is not equal to something, do something. So that's it for today. Thanks a lot, and continue to practice Python, I will come with the next section where we will be doing something nice. So I got it right. Yay! Yeah, it's supposed to be 101. So we can print all these ones that we introduced and I'm gonna up this one a bit and also make a second video. Oh, that's too big. Okay, and then you run. Okay. Bye all. It is cool to introduce this today. As you see, we're done. Coolio. Bye bye.